What if, the vow that was broken, in this alternate Mahabharata, the great turning point came on the 10th day of the Kurukshetra war? Bhishma, the grandsire, stood undefeated as always, cutting through the Pandava army like a storm. Thousands had fallen. The Pandavas were in despair. Arjuna was hesitant to fight his beloved grandfather. Then, something unprecedented happened. As Bhishma raised his bow once again, he suddenly lowered it. For the first time in his life, the man who had taken the terrible vow of celibacy and unwavering loyalty to the throne of Hastinapur felt his resolve crack. He looked across the battlefield at the Pandavas, his own grandsons, and at the Kauravas, many of whom he had raised like sons. The weight of watching his family destroy itself finally became too much. In a voice that echoed across the entire battlefield, Bhishma declared, "I can no longer fight. This war is fratricide. I break my vow to the throne of Hastinapur. From this day, I shall fight for neither side." The shockwave, the entire Kurukshetra fell silent. Both armies stopped fighting. Duryodhana was furious and felt betrayed. The Pandavas were stunned with hope. Bhishma laid down his weapons and walked to the center of the battlefield. He addressed both sides, "I have lived long enough. I have seen too much hatred. If you wish to continue this slaughter, you must do it without me." Krishna, seeing the opportunity, stepped forward and proposed a temporary ceasefire. For the first time, both camps sat together for negotiations. The new path, Bhishma's decision, created a domino effect. Many respected elders and warriors, including Drona, who was deeply conflicted, began questioning the war. Karna, moved by Bhishma's courage, openly declared he would not fight against his brothers if Bhishma refused to fight. With the morale of the Kaurava army shattered and many warriors refusing to continue, Duryodhana was forced into peace talks. After intense negotiations mediated by Krishna and Bhishma himself, a historic agreement was reached. The kingdom would be divided equally. Yudhishthira would rule Indraprastha and the eastern provinces. Duryodhana would rule Hastinapur and the western provinces. Karna was recognized as the eldest Pandava and given the kingdom of Anga as his independent territory. The golden outcome, the war ended on the 10th day, not with rivers of blood, but with a reluctant but genuine peace. Bhishma, freed from his vows, lived for many more years as a revered advisor to both kingdoms. He personally trained Abhimanyu and the next generation of princes, teaching them that true strength lies in knowing when not to fight. Karna and Arjuna became close brothers. Draupadi's wounds slowly healed as she saw her husbands reunited with their eldest brother. Even Duryodhana, though bitter at first, eventually found respect in ruling his own prosperous territory. Under this divided but peaceful arrangement, both Hastinapur and Indraprastha flourished. Trade between the two kingdoms boomed. The people celebrated the end of hostilities. The legend remembered, in this timeline, Bhishma became known as Bhishma the Liberator, the man who broke the greatest vow of his life to save his family and his nation. The Mahabharata was remembered not as a great war, but as the war that ended early. The story of one man's courage to choose life over duty, and how that single decision saved millions. In his final days, when asked if he regretted breaking his vow, Bhishma smiled and said, "I vowed to protect the throne of Hastinapur. But I realized too late. The real throne worth protecting was the happiness of my family." After Bhishma's shocking decision to lay down his weapons, the Kurukshetra battlefield transformed from a field of death into a ground of negotiation. What followed was one of the most remarkable periods in this alternate history, the Great Compromise. With Bhishma's moral authority and Krishna's mediation, both sides agreed to a permanent treaty of brotherhood. The terms were groundbreaking. Bharatvarsha would be ruled as a dual monarchy. Yudhishthira became the emperor of the east, Indraprastha and allied kingdoms. Duryodhana became the emperor of the west, Hastinapur and its territories. Karna was formally recognized as the eldest Pandava and given the sovereign kingdom of Anga. Acting as a neutral power between the two empires, Bhishma was declared the supreme elder and advisor to both thrones. The treaty also included clauses for free trade, mutual defense against external threats, and regular family gatherings to maintain peace. The healing decade, the next 10 years were a time of reconstruction and bonding. Bhishma, freed from his terrible vows, lived actively. He traveled between both capitals, training warriors and teaching Dharma. He became especially close to Abhimanyu and Lakshmana Kumara, treating both as his true grandsons. Karna and Arjuna's brotherhood became legendary. They often trained together and undertook joint military campaigns against bandits and foreign raiders. Draupadi found peace, finally seeing her 5 husbands and their eldest brother united. Even Duryodhana slowly mellowed, focusing on making his western kingdom prosperous rather than plotting against his cousins. Eklavya was invited to become the chief archery instructor for both empires. Symbolizing the breaking of old barriers, the final test, 12 years after the treaty, a terrifying threat arrived, the massive Yavana invasion from the west, led by a powerful foreign king. For the first time, the dual empires had to fight as true allies. The united Kuru forces were unstoppable. Bhishma, though old, gave strategic guidance from the rear. Karna and Arjuna led the charge. Duryodhana and Bhima fought like true brothers on the front lines. Abhimanyu earned great fame for his bravery. The invasion was crushed decisively. After the victory, Duryodhana publicly embraced Yudhishthira on the battlefield and declared, "I once wanted everything. Today I understand that sharing it has brought us greater glory." The eternal peace, in their old age, the entire family, Pandavas, Kauravas, Karna, Draupadi, and Bhishma, gathered one final time at the banks of the Ganga. Bhishma, now over 100 years old, passed away peacefully, surrounded by all his grandsons. Before leaving, he told them, "I broke one vow. And in doing so, I kept the greatest vow of all, protecting my family." The Mahabharata in this timeline was remembered as the war that died on the 10th day. The story of how one man's courage to break his own vow ended a cycle of hatred and gave birth to a united, stronger Bharatvarsha. The kingdom flourished for generations, and children were taught that sometimes the greatest act of dharma is having the wisdom to stop fighting. The end.